I did once represent Israel on TV. I did also, a few things on TV before.
And that's when you were staying in Israel?
I lived in Israel. Well, no. This is I lived in Israel when I was in my early 20s.
Yes.
I don't know my story.
I know your story.
Can I take some pictures?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, no, take as much as you want.
Okay, yes. So I lived in Israel in my early 20s. I loved it. I really was very happy there. But obviously it was my time to come back to South Africa. And then I started working. And things just happened, when you start working and then you have a family. Well, I had a family. But sadly I had a divorce, which was okay. I got through that quite well. Then I met Dave, who is Keegan's dad. Keegan's dad is in the UK at the moment with Keegan. He met a girl called Kirsty from the UK, and they have a better life there. My son has a better life there. So it was very, very hard to say goodbye to him, but I know what's best for Keegan. And then, it was done formally. It was all done. We had a farewell for my son, and you know what? One day when he's older, he's going to thank me, and he's going to come back to South Africa and he said, "Thanks, Mom. You really gave me a good opportunity." So that's what my son. I have a very good family. I've got two sisters, sadly, that is in Australia. She's got Alzheimer's. And then I have a mom. Dad passed when I was young. I think that's what affected me initially. The loss of my father changed my whole life. And then I've got two steady brothers that, I was the naughty one. So there's there was no drugs or alcohol on their side. Yeah, they can have a drink or something like that, but they can control it. We unfortunately do have alcoholism in our family, and I got the bug.
Yeah.
So sadly, I became an alcoholic. I was in a rehabilitation center when I was weaning off alcohol and benzodiazepines. They did not wean me, they stopped me. By stopping me, my heart stopped. And by your heart stopping, you'll end up in a coma. So I was in a coma for...
It was...
4 weeks. No.
8 weeks.
2 months. 2 months. So I have got some form of brain damage. It's with regards to what I just showed you now. I do forget dates, but it is getting better. I mean, in the beginning, when my family came to visit me in the beginning of my recovery, the first home I was in, Cedar Manor, I didn't even know who my family were. It was extreme brain damage.
Sure.
And to recover from brain damage, you have to exercise your brain. So I have done a lot of therapy in my brain and a lot of exercise, like physical exercise, to get better. The doctor sadly said that, I don't like these words, but I'm sad to my family, to my mom, she'll be a vegetable for life and she's going to have to live in a home in nappies. No, that's not going to happen. Fortunately, from my background, I've always been a strong person. There's always been a fighter in me. So, yes, I was in a wheelchair in the initial stages of it, but I didn't want to be in the wheelchair for the rest of my life. You don't understand how debilitated you are in a wheelchair. For example, sorry, my drinks of water.
Yeah, of course. Well, we have started.
Oh.
Yeah, so exactly. You've told your story, you've shared so far a little bit, and, we're joined today by Kate, who has been brave enough, and we are fortunate enough to hear her story.
Thank you.
So, Kate, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for sharing what you have so far, and thank you for being open, vulnerable, and willing to obviously share your story.
Yes, thank you for having me. So, where were we? Oh, so we got from the coma,
yeah.
Right?
Let's actually go back.
Let's go back.
So, your first husband, who you had the child with?
No, I didn't have a first child.
Okay, but yes, you had a husband.
I have a husband. I had a husband.
Yes.
And he, let's not name names. So
no, we don't have to do that. Yeah.
So I had a husband, and it didn't work. So we got divorced. But it was not a really nice divorce. I think that caused a lot of stress in my life. And I just decided to throw in the towel and he wanted a lot of money back and just not an amicable divorce. Ugly divorce, and I think that's where stuff happened. Anyways, I got the divorce. I had a divorce party at Billy the Bums. It was great. It was fun. Okay, then I carried on with my life. And I think I was impacted with drugs and alcohol in the corporate arena. It is quite open out there. And you don't look at it like that.
What were the initial drugs maybe that you were exposed to?
My initial drugs that I was exposed to, fortunately my family doesn't know, was cocaine. And that's a long time ago.
Was that obviously because of the work environment, the corporate, keeping up?
Yeah, keeping up with the Joneses and the partying and all of that. Fortunately, before I had my son, thank God, I had stopped the drugs because I could have never, ever, ever had a child while I was taking drugs. It would have been, no, I can't imagine it. So, but
sorry to interrupt you. So, what got you clean? Was it in that period when you had your son? Was it, I'm having a son, I need to look after myself because this is going to look after my child?
Yeah. It was a pure determination that I need to be a mother. And in the beginning, I was a great mom. And while Keeks was around, everything was fine. Everything was absolutely fine. I wasn't drinking, I wasn't drugging. But then situations started to happen where they wanted to take Keegan away from me. And that's when I started to go downhill. And the more you ask to take, the more you threaten to take my child away from me, the more I went downhill.
What was it about, going down, or the drugs that you took? When obviously, was it the lack of power or the lack of, being able to do something?
The lack of power, yes, the lack of power, the lack of, it's terrible. When you don't have control and power, you actually lose more control and power. It's like a vicious circle, where it's you're like a hamster. You're going on and on and on and on, and you don't see yourself falling, but the drugs and the alcohol just keep it better just for that day. So yes, that was part of my life and my addiction. But I did stop that, and by the time I landed up in the hospital, in the rehabilitation center, when I started having my seizures, they should have resuscitated me, and they should never have stopped me from taking it sounds wrong, but the alcohol and the benzos, you never ever stop a person.
It's almost weaning you off, rather.
Yes, you must wean someone off. Unfortunately, they did not wean me off.
What time, when was this? What year was this?
December. A few years ago.
Okay,
that was when it all fell apart.
So it was like in the last 10 years?
Yeah.
Okay.
6 years.
6 years ago?
Yeah, 6 years ago. Yeah.
And so you obviously, they didn't wean you off. You go into cardiac arrest and you become completely paralyzed. So first you go into cardiac arrest.
Yeah.
Then you're in a coma.
Yes. If your heart stops, you will end up in a coma.
And you're in a coma for how long? 3 weeks?
It was 8 weeks.
8-week coma.
Yeah.
And then you wake up from this coma.
Yes. Didn't know who I was, where I was. And like I said, the doctors did say she would be a vegetable for life to my family. And no, I'm clearly not a vegetable. But I have had hard work to get where I am.
So what is the first thing? Because obviously they say you're going to be a vegetable. Obviously it means you can't speak, can't talk, obviously can't move. What's the first faculty of control that you had almost? Was it your eyesight?
Yes, I can tell you. It was awesome. It was the first time I had control. Well, I had these splints. They're called splints to straighten your fingers. And they were up to here. And every single day they had to, because my hands were up to here from being paralyzed, they had to take every single finger down in order to work one day again. And I used to scream and scream and scream. It was intensely painful. But I knew I had to do it. So then became small victories where they would give me, my mom would come on a Friday and bring me Pringles, and they would make me pick up the Pringles. I cannot tell you how excited I was as a human being that I could pick up a Pringle with my fingers. You don't understand that? It's like when I could first feed myself, drink my first milkshake on my own, I thought I was a bee's knees.
Yeah.
And I had my family all around there. And also for them, that was a huge accomplishment.
Especially after being told
holding your hand, holding it, and I still have a bottle that my brother bought me, my one brother, in order to be able to grasp it, just to hold it. But I can only see now how far I've come if I go back and look at the little triumphs I had in my own head. Then I can see, wow, look where far you've come. It has been very difficult, very, very difficult.
So, were you able to talk in this period?
No.
Able to talk, not able to walk.
No.
Motor neuron skills obviously lacking.
None, gone.
So at what point, was it first the motor neuron skills, the fine motor neuron, like the picking up?
I think what they tried, in the beginning, they just want you to be alive. So that's their biggest concern. When you come out the coma, just keep, let's keep you alive and let's see what it will go from there. Because sometimes the doctor's prognoses are not great. So you actually are kind of running on faith, if that. So... yeah, it was very difficult in the beginning for me to learn how to walk again. I never thought I'd walk. I really didn't. I cried many days when I was in the wheelchair, and I would say to the nurses, I was in a frail care home firstly. I used to say to them, will I walk again? And they'll say, yes, you'll walk, but you don't believe you're going to walk anyway. So you just have to, every single day, obsessed with the fact that you will never walk again. And it took me a long time to walk again.
What was the best thing? Was it advice from someone? Was it just, soul searching within yourself that kind of gave you that motivation to just keep pushing and keep going?
Just the people around me never gave up. My family never, ever gave up. My son never gave up. When I had my first birthday, the first home I had, one of my birthdays was a big thing, obviously. Because she's out of coma now, and this is her birthday, and it was in October, and we all went to a restaurant, and I saw my family, my aunts, my uncles, they all came just to see, and they were like, wow. And later on in life, I started to become normal again, I started to go to, in that time when I was ill, I couldn't go to all the parties, the Christmas events they were doing, because how are they going to take her in a wheelchair to all of these places, not out of ugliness, out of logically, it's difficult. So it was just nice to see. And then I can remember I went to some parties. It wasn't a party. It was a wake. My sister-in-law's mother passed, and that was very, very sad. And she had a wake, and a lot of people came to that event that hadn't seen me in all those years. And a lot of them were saying, and his cousins from Australia were there. They're like, is this your sister? Is she the one that was in the coma? They're like, no, wow. Is this really her? I'm like, yeah, it's me. Adi, you want it? It's me.
So in this... do you have any recollection? Because obviously, you hear stories of people saying, no, you must read to the person inside the coma, or you must talk to them.
I do have a few things.
Do you have memories when you were inside and in the coma?
I do. I have two very, very vivid memories in my head. Strange memories. One, I was in the cinemas. I was in the cinemas. And another one, I was walking down a road, like a cobblestone road. And those are my two vivid memories.
Does it feel like they were dreams? Or
to me, there might have been visions, because to this day I'm walking. And have I been to the cinemas? Yes. So probably, in somewhere in my brain, am I saying, oh God, or whoever, we all have different beliefs. But yes, I can remember little visions in my head when I was in the coma. But they didn't come out immediately.
Yeah.
They came on times when I was sitting in that wheelchair and I had absolutely nothing to do. I was thinking and thinking.
When you came out of this coma and you had this complete paralysis, your mind was working perfectly.
No. I was severe brain damage.
Brain damage.
Yeah. Severe brain damage. That's what didn't help.
How was the, almost recovery process, or the PT, the mental work? Or
lots and lots of PT. It was like the first home I was in, they just wanted me to maybe be able to walk again. That was my first frail home. And then as I got better, they moved me to different homes. So first I went from Cedar Manor to another home where my mom was the head nurse there. We didn't do a lot of OT stuff then. That's not my mom's fault either. It was just that particular woman was quite happy for her residents to run around and do nothing. I came to the Bell House, and that's when my life started to change. Because I had people to give me the tools, you know, to be able to give me things to learn how to write again. They gave me all sorts of stuff to be able to exercise my legs, exercise my arms, exercise. So it took work to get where I am now. But I had the tools.
Yeah. So what was most difficult for you? Getting over the addiction and recovering from that, or, you know, so which determination, which required more determination, to beat the addiction or to learn to walk again?
You could learn to walk again.
So does that now, in hindsight, make like, ugh, I can beat this addiction?
No.
Okay.
I will never, ever touch it again. I almost lost my life. I was lucky enough not to lose my life. So, and I had to swallow a bitter pill to say, well, sadly, yes. The AA room say it might kill you. Well, it did. You know, so I'm not, and I don't want to take that chance, take that risk. And I don't mind if other people drink around me. I don't mind if I'm not interested. I lost my life to it, you know.
In your journey with this addiction, what for you, if you had to look at yourself, not what psychologists have told you or people have told you, for you personally, what do you think is maybe the biggest reason why, you know, you look to alcohol, look to drugs for answers?
Stress. Maybe pressure. You know, you're in a pressure pot, and you don't ask for help. You don't want to ask for help because you feel, you know, I'm stupid if I can't do this by myself. You're ignorant. You know, so I didn't want to ask for help. I've never been a child that wanted to ask for help, regardless. I mean, it was a bitter pill that I had to swallow. I was very independent, and now I'm asking people for help. I had no choice. I was in a wheelchair. I wasn't going to move, you know. So it's just a long, long journey of recovery.
And I think that's the biggest thing with, you know, asking for help. There's more strength in asking for help.
Yes.
Than there is weakness. There's no weakness in asking for help and admitting you
agree.
might not know something, or admitting you can't do something.
It's an attitude of gratitude, you know. And you see the small things in life. You know, I was once chatting to someone about, you know, you see the man on the street and he cries because he has no legs. But then you see a woman with no arms and she's happy. So you just got to take what you have and make the most of it, even though it's not where you want to be right then. But if I didn't have an attitude of gratitude, where would I be? I'd just be a better person. You know. So
now, obviously, you appreciate, you know, the tiny things in life, the things you might have previously overlooked.
You only appreciate them if you have, because you've overlooked them. Like I said to you, that little Pringle that I had to pick up, a chip that, you know, do that every day, holding a water bottle, walking. Every day I do something, I see someone else do it, and I think to myself, you used to do that like so easily, and it didn't make it. Driving. You know, everything. You lose your ability to do everything, but you fight to have it back.
That determination, where did that come from? Was it, well, I have no choice but to be determined, or, you know, either I stay like this for the rest of my life, or I work at, you know, getting the functionality back?
I think initially, because it was so painful, the physio was so painful. Initially, I can remember saying to my mom, can I just not stay there in the wheelchair for the rest of my life? You all leave me alone. Put me in a home. I don't care. I don't want to do this. It's hurting me. And it was extremely painful. Now I understand why I said that, because the pain was, I couldn't overcome that pain. I was crying daily with the pain. But if I look back now, to what I've done, I thank God I never allowed my family to give me that decision to say, just put me in a home and leave me the way I am, because I wouldn't be here where I am now.
So they always wanted you to keep going through with the PT and keep fighting.
Yeah, for sure.
How has your bond with your family strengthened now? You know, even with, let's say, your son being at such a long distance and a far distance, you know, how is the relationship with your family after such a bad time?
It's awesome. It's amazing when I talk to them and they like remind me of who I was in the past. Remind me of who I was in the past, where my sister-in-law would say to me, you know, we used to have parties at the house and you would come with Keegan, my son, and you would just want to go lie down, and you would give Gandhi, my mom, Keegan to look after. I'm almost like shocked I did that. You know, I said to Lizzie, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry I was like that. I must have been so self-centered and so bound up in tranquilizers and alcohol that I was being blind. So I'm happy. I'm happy that they've all forgiven me, and you know, I don't want to go that road again. I can fortunately now have a good relationship with my son. But I can't believe I did some of those things.
Yeah. Obviously, having the cardiac arrest and going through the coma and everything helped you, get closer to beating the addiction. And obviously that was a catalyst. If that didn't happen, you know, for some people that might not hit rock bottom almost.
Yes.
You know, what for you do you think would be the way now you'd give yourself advice, or you'd give someone else advice who is in a position that you were, before that? You know, what would, just to help them?
I'd say to them, you just got to try look at the picture forward. Don't look right now, because right now is sometimes too difficult. Just look at the what ifs, because the what ifs could be very, very detrimental. But try focus on today. Maybe if I did more focusing on just today, things would have been better. But I also got to the point where I had analysis paralysis. I was so analyzing everything of, my first hope is that just give yourself the opportunity to get better. And in those times, you really do not know where you're going. From a wheelchair, no one knew where I was going. They'd like to hope for the best, all of that. But you have to do it within yourself as well. So your family can rah you, but then you also have to rah yourself.
Yeah, you mentioned obviously earlier that it was, the anxiety and the stress and everything that led you to taking the drugs. And that's essentially, as you mentioned now, with just being present and not worrying about the future as much, and every little worry that tomorrow might bring.
Yeah.
If you were more present, then you might not have felt the need to take certain drugs to reduce that anxiety.
It's true. I can remember you numb everything. You possibly numb absolutely everything. I can remember my long-term memory is very good. It's my short-term that was damaged, which I work on, but the long-term. I can remember going to all sorts of different pharmacies when I was in addiction and joking their scripts. And I can remember going to pharmacies where they've said to me, "You've been here before," and I'm arrogant. I'm like, "I haven't been here." You're desperate for drugs and you're desperate for alcohol, so you'll lie. So you can't take back what's already happened, but you can go forward and make sure that it doesn't happen again.
Obviously, now you're surrounded by people that have had similar experiences and on the same journey with you, and working to be better versions of themselves, for themselves and the people around them. What kind of crowd, when you're at your worst, were you with? Was it similar people as well, or was it people that maybe weren't taking drugs that you're hiding the drugs from?
No, similar crowds.
Was that? Do you feel it's easier to surround yourself with people that are making the same mistakes, maybe as you?
Oh, for sure. Yes. Definitely. My brother once called my complex something about debaucherous, or I can't remember. But it's the crowds. that you're in, but you also you go to those crowds, and you also, I think, you also encourage those crowds to come to you. So would it have been a bit different if I wasn't with those crowds? I don't know. No one ever knows. My journey later in life might have been something else difficult. You know, we can't stop what happens in life. Life happens. What you do about it is how you're going to, you know, go forward. I cannot blame the people, any of the drug dealers that I ever took cocaine from, or anyone that I ever drank from. I took it. And you mean, you know, I hear people say the druggie made me hooked or whatever. But ultimately you had that decision to do it. And it's a bitter pill you have to swallow. First you have to make a journey with yourself to forgive yourself. And then I think you have to make amends with the people you've hurt. And say, I'm sorry. I mean, I had to say to my son, I'm sorry that I did this to you. But I only want the best for you. You just become a nicer person. You know, and then you start to spend a lot of time with who is Kate and what does Kate want and why did this happen to Kate? You know, I can even look back in school, like were any problems? No, I had a good life. I didn't have an abusive family. I had a family that was well off, but unfortunately, addiction is in our family, and I took the one for it. If you look at it like that, but I don't know. Maybe one day I always say, maybe one day when I'm in heaven, if there's heaven, or you know, maybe one day I can ask, why did you take me down this road? Because a lot of the times I was asking questions about things that had happened to me. Now makes sense. So I understand why I had to do that to get here and why I had to do this to do that. So I didn't like learning to write again. And I didn't like doing all those exercises. And I didn't like, because it was a totally new thing for me. But now I understand why I had to do it.
If you could, would you take any of it away? Obviously, maybe the hurting other people aspect, but for yourself, having been in a coma and having to go through all of that, like, would you take any of that away from yourself?
I've thought about that. I can't. So I've decided to deal with it rather. I've also thought about the what ifs I talk about. No, it's
there is no what if.
There is
so
no what if.
No point thinking
life.
about it.
Yeah, Kate, you landed up in a coma because of the situation. It is what it is. Now deal with it. I spent enough time in the beginning of my recovery of being angry and why did God do this to me? And you know, I said to someone once, I kept on asking, why me, why me, why me? This was early in the recovery. And then I realized, why not me? I'm just a person. I'm just another human being. So, you know, I'm pretty sure there's someone there. We all have different baggages that we have to carry. And it's as soon as you understand, well, this is my map to life. Now what I do about it is going to either get me further or back. You know, and I have days where I want to do nothing. I have days I also want to give up because I'm human. But I'm not going to give up. If I gave up, I would never be in this room. Yeah.
And I think as humans, we also need to understand and we need to see that, firstly, none of us are as special as we think we are.
Exactly.
Not all of us are as, you know, divinely gifted or, you know, put on this earth because we're the most special thing. We all need to, humble ourselves
humble
in
yourself.
the understanding that, from my perspective, because I'm looking through life in my eyes, obviously everything I'm seeing is from my perspective and my, understanding of things, that it seems the most important.
Yeah.
But there's 3 perspectives in this room.
Exactly.
Doesn't make one perspective any better or worse or superior than the other. Everyone's perspective is identical in terms of the value that it has as everyone else on earth. I think we just need to understand, and that's why when you go through hardship, it does humble you. And also you ask those questions like, God, why did you do this to me? Or, why me? Why do I have it worse and that guy's got it easy or whatever? And that person, you don't know, they could be asking the exact same thing.
Do you know what I realized about social media? okay, when obviously I didn't know how to use social media when I came out of the coma. Well, the phone for quite a while. First phone I used was to phone my son. And that was it. Later on, I became a bit of a phone fundi again. That long-term memory kicked in.
Yeah.
And I love my phone, but that's not what I'm trying to say.
Who doesn't?
No, exactly. I learned how to do amazing things on my phone that help with my brain. But my best thing I learned about Facebook and phones, that picture of that woman standing there with her 2 kids and her 2 dogs and her happy husband is not necessarily true. End of story.
And that's what unhappiness can come about because of social media, is that comparison.
Compare and despair. Right. Yeah, I learned that I'm pretty much, people are comparing and despairing from me, Kate looks like it's better for her because, not in a nasty way, they don't know my life. So when they see you, this person, they could very, very likely be comparing and despairing to me. I mean,
we interrupt this broadcast just to tell you that this podcast is sponsored by Dis-Chem Living Fit, with a wide range of fitness products and health supplements. Whatever your needs are, whatever, part you are on your health and fitness journey, Dis-Chem Living Fit has the products for you. Back to the show.
Someone said to me once recently, not so long ago, I wish I was like you. You're so happy. I was like, no, don't ever wish to be like me. You understand? Because I sometimes wish to be like you.
Yeah. And I was watching a video last night where it's a Denmark mental health advert or something.
Oh, there's a lot going on.
It went quite viral, where the one guy's pretty sad, the other guy's really happy, and they're watching a soccer game. And then each time the change of frame, they're in different outfits. Obviously, like, let's say over a space of 5 years, it just shows the frame of them watching the game. Next game, slightly different outfits. And it kind of basically it just progresses where the one guy's always happy and celebrating, and the one guy's always pretty sad. And then it just says, you don't know what people are going through, so be careful. And then the next episode or the next slide, the guy who was always sad is still there, and then the guy that was always happy isn't there. And they just say suffering looks different to different people.
Exactly.
And you don't know, the person that's always happy, they could be suffering more than the person that's always sad.
Inside, they could be suffering very badly. I'm looking at what's happening now in Israel, and I sadly have lost some friends there. So it's very, 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 very sore and very close to my heart. But I was complaining about my life, not so long ago, until I saw them, and I'm like, but you know what these mothers and these fathers are going through at the moment with all of these kids that are kidnapped.
Yeah.
This is war. This is hell. So you sometimes have to look at something else and say, again, I have a bed to sleep on. I have food in my tummy. I've got a family that loves me. I've got opportunities in life. I've got good friends, good coaches. I'm doing well. And I'm complaining about this war in this world.
Yeah, it could be way worse.
It could be way worse. I could hypothetically be right now in Israel and dead, because I did live there.
Yeah.
You have a path and you have to go through with it.
And that gratitude and, getting through addiction and going through AA, there's principles within AA that every single human can use, regardless of being an addict or not.
I agree with you 100%. Maybe more people should use the principles,
And it's, something like gratitude.
Yeah.
Feeling gratitude, maybe it will help you feeling sorry about yourself and not take drugs, but also it can help you just not feel sorry for yourself and make better decisions. Even if it wasn't going to be to take drugs, it could be to sleep in and not go to work. Or whatever, but just being, okay, I've actually got a job. Maybe I should go to work. Then when you get to work, you're more positive, you work better, you do better, your boss sees you doing a better job, you get a promotion, and things just can possibly level up with the more gratitude and, reflection that you put on of how much you've actually been given in life.
It's true.
So for you now, what are you most grateful for?
My opportunities in life and my family. That's my two most things I'm grateful for a lot, but the most too is that, change, because everything's changing and getting better. So that's opportunities and my family and the hope, the hope that I never ever give up hope.
You now, obviously, having going through all the PT and everything, what now? You mentioned your short-term memory, but what now do you still kind of suffer with in terms of difficulty? Like, are there some days you wake up and your fingers don't work as well as the previous day, and you can?
No, well, yeah, I still do have permanent pins and needles in my hands, and I'm on different types of medication, but it's something I've also accepted, because it's not that bad. I have hands. It's, you know. Maybe I'm not focusing on it as much as I used to, because in the past I was feeling it all the time. But I think that's now, to me, that's like old news, you know. What else do you ask? What something you said something about?
So your hands, is that something that you still struggle with? Are there other things?
Oh yes, I'm petrified of stairs. You know?
Is it the strength that you might have in your legs walking down? Or
no, it's the fear of falling. Yes.
And does that fear, excuse the pun, cripple you?
Yeah.
But you
sometimes
know,
it does.
Yeah.
It does. Actually, everywhere we go, I'm like, are there stairs? Where we go? Are we stairs? So I can do the stairs, but I can't do them alone. Why? Because I'm scared. My legs can probably do them. You know, and the brain hopefully can do it, but I'm scared because I've gone up flights with my brother. They have a double-story house, and I was up. They took me up and then they took me down, and my brother said, "Kate, I literally gave you my pinky for you to go up and down these stairs, and you did it." I'm like, it's fear, pure fear. So yes, I go every night. I go to sleep. I want to know, when am I going to get over the stairs?
How do you think you would be able to get over the fear?
If I lose the fear, that's it. I'll get over it.
Previously in life, when you felt fearful for stuff, you know, and you just
did it.
But if you look back, you've done it.
Yeah.
So how do you see yourself getting over that fear?
You have to do it. That's the problem. I myself have to do it.
Have you set like a goal?
That's funny. No, I think every year I set the same goal. I'm going to climb stairs. I don't know. It's not complacency, because I would love to be walking up the stairs like everyone else. But sadly, I have fallen a few times, and when I fall hard. I've cracked my head a few times. You know, so yeah. I still want to, one day when I'm in heaven or wherever I am, I want to say, why was it so difficult for me to overcome that one fear? I'm more scared of stairs than I am of spiders. It's ridiculous.
I'm more scared of frogs.
Well, that's also ridiculous.
It is ridiculous, and I think but even you admitting that it's ridiculous is also a step to maybe overcoming it. I
have to. I keep setting myself a goal. You know, like, if you do this, then you can do this. But I know it's just the brain. Any place I enter, any building, I'm looking for stairs. With radar, stairs. You know, hospitals is an elevator. So it's just a pure fear, and I really would like to overcome it. I do work on my legs, and I do work to get better. I mean, the fact I'm walking is a miracle. But I also want to one day stand up there and say it's a miracle that I'm walking upstairs.
Yeah.
You know, I want to have a little bit more to my story. Each time you can add something. You know, you can't. I don't want to be complacent. I don't want to. Well, so what did you do in life? Like, but I can't do stairs. Yeah. So I'll do stairs.
Good. It's something that you're going to put on camera, that you are going to climb the stairs. And you've said it on camera, so you can do it. Kate, I want to thank you so much for coming on, sharing your story.
Thank you.
Is there anything maybe you want to share to someone that is in recovery or hasn't, you know, got to that stage yet, but they might be, you know, in a desperate point in their life? Maybe some advice or something?
Yes, I'd love to. I am in contact with other people on Facebook. One particular guy, I can't remember his name, but he sadly was in a car accident, and he's not recovering well. But he was in a motorbike accident. Sorry, hit on run incidents. And I just want to say there is hope. I do talk to him a lot and his family, and I'm like, don't give up. Don't give up. When the darkest days, don't give up, because there is a better future. There is something to look forward to. And if there's nothing to look forward to because it's too big, then just give yourself a break and say, it's okay. Today, I wasn't happy. I know I wasn't happy, but tomorrow I'll be better. And don't beat yourself up. What you can do, and what you can't. Don't beat yourself up about it.
I think as humans, we need to look at ourselves the same way we look at someone else that we care for. You need to love yourself the same way you love your mom or your dad or your brother, because you give them compassion, and you give them, if they make a mistake, you're understanding, and you love them regardless. But the moment we ourselves make a mistake, we hate ourselves, we beat ourselves up for it, and that's just detrimental to further progression.
It's true. I remember we were talking to someone, and I said to them, the way you're talking to yourself right now, with nasty things about themselves, would you say that to me? And they're like, no. I'm like, don't say that to yourself, because it's not true. And I've obviously done it as well. We beat ourselves up to a point of, I'm not good enough, I'm not thin enough, I'm not happy enough, my hair's not good enough, and my ears are too big, and blah, 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 fish cake. We beat ourselves up too much.
Well, in closing, I think we should all just love ourselves and be understanding for the mistakes that we as humans and yourself as a human will make, and learn from it and grow from it, and, try be a testament to what determination can be, the way Kate has been. So thank you so much, Kate.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Cheers, guys.